Monday Night Football is here as the game goes to LA, Eagles-Chargers, and the work begins as it always does here on the Splash Play channel. We're going to look at projections, looking at the data from Stokastic up top, seeing who the top projected plays are, who the top value plays are for tonight's showdown on Monday Night Football with the Eagles and the Chargers. We'll see who the top owned plays are, who's going to be the chalk on this slate. We'll hop across the aisle, see what the ETR guys think look like the best plays, the best cash game lineup. We'll run some sims if they have them available. If not, we'll run some Stokastic sims, see who the top plays are, top lineups are on there. And by the end of this video, guys, you will know all the industry's must plays along with 3 ways to get unique on this showdown slate. Let's get into it. I hope it was a good week 14 for you guys. For me, the tie rod of it all did not help. Him getting hurt immediately, that sucked for the Jets stacks. Had some lineups still that were not bad, and I have to actually give a shout out to the ETR cash game lineup. So I played that in my cash game with my friend that I play, one of my best friends in high school, basically what's left of our old fantasy league, because everybody, I feel like, some leagues you can keep together, some leagues people fall off. One of our leagues, our longest standing ones, a lot of guys just don't play fantasy anymore. So it's just evolved into it being basically a cash game between us every week. And I put up 210 points. I finished top 10. I always put the cash game lineup that I do with my friend into like the free tournament on DraftKings, just so like I have some tournament exposure to it, but I don't want to give up my play action or my Millie Maker, whatever entries that I put in. And it literally finished top 10 in a free 60,000 person tournament. I actually wish I had played it in other formats, but shout out to ETR data. As I always say here, Stokastic data, one of the best tools in the business, obviously best tools and data combined. ETR with the solver, great product as well, great data. There are reasons for both of them to exist besides just competition. Saber Sim, great product as well that I've been playing with a little bit lately off stream. There's good stuff out there. So, just ultimately, I always want you guys to sign up for Stokastic to get that 15% off, but check out ETR. There's a lot of valid data out there, and ETR is, watching the content. They work hard at what they do, and they're very good at what they do, even though we do show more of the Stokastic side here a lot of days. Jalen Hurts, 19.6 projection for him. And this game today with the Eagles and the Chargers, you got 21.8 implied points for the Eagles, 19.8 implied for the Chargers. So total does scream a defensively minded matchup. So maybe not a spot where people will be super excited to play. The offense is going nuts. But Jalen Hurts, your highest projected guy by a decent margin here, 19.6 projection. Hurts running 6.2 times a game. That'll play. 1.9 of which are inside the red zone. Tush Push has had some up and down moments this season, but still definitely some touchdown equity there when you do get into short down and distance situations for Jalen Hurts, even though, getting creative sometimes with handoffs, little passes. He actually has been giving up more touchdowns than Tush Push this year. There's out of necessity / it not being quite as effective. But still, obviously, that adds to the upside. At a 10-6 salary, hard to argue with him. And I think with him being seemingly a top value amongst all these guys, and your top projected player by about 2.5, 3 fantasy points, Jalen Hurts probably one of the chalkiest plays in the slate, and deservedly so, despite tough matchup against the Chargers defense. It's pretty game. Saquon Barkley, we got 17 fantasy points here, $9,600 salary. Saquon, as I've said enough times on stream this year, not to dunk on anybody, but like just to sort of clarify what I thought. This is what I thought we were getting with Saquon last year. Where like he's okay. Like he's got a 16% avoided tackle rate, 2.7 red zone opportunities a game. We're talking not quite, Derrick Henry, certainly not Jonathan Taylor tier levels of work, but still it's good red zone opportunity. Still getting 20 intended touches a game. That's fine. 3.6 targets. It all is like not bad for Saquon, but because the offensive line is not creating gigantic holes for him, he's just not really having the same success. So for Saquon, if that ever changes and the offense starts to open, larger opportunities for him, he'll probably play well. Going against the Chargers today, negative 0.03 EPA per rush. In the red zone, they are even better, a negative 0.1 EPA per red zone play. So they are stuffing the run fairly adequately, 20% rate of that. Tackle for loss, 14% of the time, which is towards the higher part of the league. I don't know this is a Saquon spot. I think you want to play Saquon if he's playing the Giants. Like if he's playing a dog shit run defense team, he'll probably break some big plays there, have more opportunity. As it is for Saquon, I don't love him, and I think he's gonna be one of the chalkiest plays in the slate. But people are down on him this year. I think there's enough data out there that would say like he's really not anywhere near the top running backs in football. Fantasy points per game, also not there from in a great way. I think for Saquon, I think at that price tag, he'll get played a lot. We'll see what the ownership is, but if he's highly owned, I think moving away from him is a decent move. If he's going to be lower owned, then taking your shot and hoping the best of him in a tough matchup, it can always happen. Justin Herbert, number 3. So broken non-throwing hand for him. Had the surgery. Now he is back out there. When he had the hand broken, it was a little bit stifling to the offense. A lot of shotgun snaps, a lot of hands-offs. But for Herbert, we're assuming that he's playing today. I don't think that might be officially confirmed, but I'm not actually sure about that. But it seems like he's trending towards playing. Let's see. Searching the latest thing on Twitter. I hate that Twitter, like, who gives a shit about what this guy Ryan DePaul says? I'm searching Justin Herbert. I'm very clearly looking for, like, Justin Herbert's going to play news. I don't need to know in the playoffs, Josh Allen. This is like Twitter. If anybody out there works at X and can fix this, please. What's the latest on Justin Herbert? Give me something useful here. Clickbait. What an awful experience. Like, what? The internet has gotten so awful to find information. Like, I love my underdog alerts. Let's go to underdog. That's the one thing we know. They may be failing as a product for their users over and over again, but they do make good Twitter handles. Anything about Justin Herbert so far today? No, we got all the engagement bait. Tough run for content this morning to get the information on Justin Herbert. I presume he's going to play based upon the trend of it. You just search Justin Herbert in the page. They don't talk about him at all. All right, well, fuck it. Justin Herbert, let's talk about him like he's going to play. If he doesn't play, Trey Lance will certainly be somebody to note here. Trey Lance at an $8K salary, though. Not super cheap, but I think you take that shot for the rushing upside in this matchup if Herbert were to be out. Assuming he's in, 16.2 projection. Hard to assume that the passing game is going to be that good for him, given the fact that when he was out there and, he just had surgery, so his hand's not broken, but we saw it be broken, and they did, lean on the run more, try to keep him safe. Can't take drops. Dropbacks under center is what was the case with him having the broken hand last week. Surgically repaired hand within a week. I just think you're probably getting shotgun. You're probably getting him get rid of the ball fast. And, the Chargers are facing a Philadelphia defense that doesn't create tremendous pressure. 22% rates about league average. They're a good secondary overall, or a decent secondary overall. 75% catchable ball rates, really low. They're not creating a ton of pressure. Maybe Herbert could sit back and pick them off short, dink and dunk kind of stuff. We're probably not holding the ball long enough to really get it downfield, to be my guess. I think there's real upside and downside to Herbert here. Like, if the field's afraid of the broken hand, and we want to lean into the stuff the field's afraid of. If the field is leaning into Herbert and they're like, he's going to be back to normal here, I don't think the stochastic projection will maybe support that at that price tag, and I'm kind of willing to move away from it. But another thing here, let's see what the ownership looks like. But it's a number 3 projection for Herbert, so he's going to come up. AJ Brown, 14.7 projection, going against a Chargers team that is more zone heavy than man defense heavy. So on paper, not an AJ Brown smash spot where he does dominate versus zone to 32%, actually 33% target rate. Overall, 2.4 yards per out run. Versus zone, AJ Brown is at 2.1 yards per out run, which is lower than Devontae Smith at 2.4. And his target rate per out run is at 23%. Devontae's at 21. So basically, in a zone heavy matchup, does favor let's say the field versus AJ Brown a little bit more, even though he could still hit. But AJ Brown at 9K, good games lately. Think we are always better off, for the Eagles offense, going to the other players when one guy's been hot. So for AJ Brown, that's how I feel about it at 9K salary. But certainly getting him in lineups here, especially if you don't have Devontae Smith, that looks fine. It's taking every snap from shotgun, hinder the rush game. I mean, theoretically, it's not great to start further behind all the time with less forward moving momentum because you're getting the handoff straight as opposed to getting it with, a little bit of burst. I don't know if there's any number, that's just me talking my ass. So I don't know if there's any numbers that would say one way or the other. Theoretically, you're showing a more diverse look, so the run game can hit more. But you're probably likely to get stuffed on run plays more behind the line of scrimmage because you're starting, with less of a head of steam. I think that's how that would play out. But again, I don't know if it really matters data-wise. Devontae Smith, 8,400. I appreciate the question. That's a fun question. Thank you, KY. 8,400 for Devontae Smith here. So again, right behind AJ Brown, lower projected, but cheaper. Value metrics favor AJ Brown as well. 1.6x value for AJ Brown, 1.5 for Devontae Smith. Again, I think Devontae Smith benefits from this not being a man defense matchup. He's good versus man too, but things flatten out a lot more versus zone. And Devontae still getting 7.3 targets a game. AJ Brown 7.9. I think the workloads are similar enough. AJ Brown definitely more work in the red zone. One target a game in the red zone compared to 0.6 for Devontae. Devontae also only 0.1 when they get inside the 10-yard line compared to 0.5 for AJ Brown and 0.5 for Dallas Goedert. So Devontae, not a bad price tag. Certainly if you're playing the Eagles passing attack, these are not bad prices for AJ Brown and Devontae Smith. Ladd McConkey, not too far behind Devontae. Marion Hampton, split workload with Kamani Vidal, it seems like. Hard to really like either guy at those price tags. Omarion Hampton at 7,800. Vidal down here at 7,400 with a 6.9 projection, which is not so nice when you have that price tag on you. A little bit tough to know what to expect from that run game from the Chargers, but there's some of your top guys. Phoenix Reeves saying, I think statistically under center runs help, at least with diversity and showing better play action look. I know Chiefs offense midseason struggled a lot from running from shotgun because it comes predicted. All right, fair enough. Yeah, that makes sense. You could run play action more. I mean, it depends too, because some teams might still run the QB under center, but not actually run play action, because there are teams that like barely run play action plays. In fact, honestly, the Eagles only running 6.4 a game. Herbert's running 8.4. So maybe you got a little bit less play action from Herbert. He really hasn't been super great on play action plays, though. Flat 0 EPA is not anything special. And that probably doesn't matter that much. Ultimately, these things like are fun to talk about because like you feel like you're gaining insight from it. But in reality, like Herbert, is he owned? Is the projection too high, too low relative to that ownership? That's more of the stuff that I think you're better off, and I'm better off worrying about, that I can get in the weeds on too much on. Kylan Granson, $200 salary, 2.6x value. As I always talk about for Showdown, it's really important to be aware of the snap counts of these plays because snap volume is like the biggest thing for a Showdown, pretty much always. But 2 snaps last week for Kylan Granson, 5 the week before that. For comparison, Goddard, 48. Calcaterra, 12 last week. So you're talking about barely any work for Granson. Obviously, he's not going to come up a lot with a 0.5 projection, but maybe he catches 1 touchdown. I don't know. It's hard to make a case for this guy. But if he comes up a little bit in lineups and the sim loves him for some reason, certainly worth considering. Jalen Hurts, top 2 value, despite being the highest projected guy in the slate. So he's probably going to make every single lineup. Obviously for Hurts, running QB, certainly you would expect him to make a winning lineup. That said, if the Chargers really shut things down, the Eagles have been I'll call it temperamental team where it just seems like they have really high highs and low lows a lot. LA is going to feel a lot like a home game for Philly. Philly fans really show up big. I know from living in LA, you go to bars sometimes on a Philly Eagles playing the Rams, Eagles playing the Chargers kind of weekend, and people will be like loading up bars full of Eagles jerseys and all that. They travel well, / there's a lot of transplants. I think it's not going to be much of a home game for the Chargers tonight relative to that, but point being for Jalen Hurts, who knows? Road game, he could fall apart here against the good Chargers defense. They could also play fantastically. That is the Philadelphia Eagles experience. Saquon Barkley, $9,600 salary. So he's going to come up a good amount too as your 3rd best value. We're not seeing like true value here besides Kylan Granson. We are seeing Saquon Barkley and Hurts coming in. So I imagine these guys are going to make the vast majority of lineups. We'll see what the ETR data thinks about that in a moment when we run the cash game builds. Oronde Gadsden, $5,800 salary, 1.7x value. That gets him a 9.7 projection. Gadsden, I feel like, has mostly been quiet lately. Hasn't had that massive ceiling at the least, but still played 47 snaps last week for comparison. Keenan Allen played 40. Quentin Johnston played 45. Ladd McConkey, 51. So, that's reliable work for Gadsden, at least reliable, time out there. His target rate's fallen down, though. He's now getting targeted 20% of the time he's running a route, which is behind Ladd at 22, Keenan Allen at 28, Quentin Johnston at 18. Yeah, I don't mind Oronde Gadsden. I just feel like he's been a little overplayed to me for weeks at that price tag, though, and he does have an appreciable ceiling. I feel like I'd be more inclined to take stabs at him at captain than feel like, I want to get him in a ton of lineups in the flex. But I think he's got upside at 5,800. And Jake Elliott, your Eagles kicker, 4,800. He's coming as your number 5 value. Defenses and Cameron Dicker not too far behind. So this may be like a Hurts, Saquon plus kickers and defenses kind of slate to afford one other pay up option. That'd be my guess based on these numbers, but let's see in a moment. And guys, if you can, show some love, hit that like button and subscribe. Of course, I am here doing the Showdown videos Mondays and Thursdays at 12 p.m. Main slate Also at 12 p.m. on Fridays, I do my premium video as well at 1 p.m. I work really hard at this, and hopefully it shines through. And a lot of you guys have been watching these videos lately, so I appreciate that a bunch, but help me out. It's always a battle against the YouTube algorithm, and we've been winning that war lately. You guys as a community support me what I'm doing here. So please hit that like button. Please subscribe. Keep doing that because it is really helping and making an impact on what looks like my prospects for this life of streaming for myself. And also, guys, make sure to check out Stochastic. Of course, this data I'm showing you on screen is going to update as we go along here. So, and the day goes on especially. So check it out down below. Link in the description for 15% off. Use the promo code SPLASH as well if you want to do that. But that's all the cheap products, all the expensive products over at Stochastic. And again, a good site that's won people millions of dollars many times over this NFL season. Not saying it's a guarantee. Obviously, it's gambling still. Keep that in mind. But do check them out. They do a great job giving their people a leg up. And if nothing else, giving you a good read on the markets, what a lot of people are using. A great success every week in the data. And last but not least, join the channel too. $5 to join. Appreciate all the members here. Shout out to the guys in chat as well who are paying members, but $5 support the channel here, and you get yourself a premium video in my data sheet every week, dropped through the YouTube community tab and the Discord. All right, so there we go. We've hoard. My legs are up. Shout out my guy, Mr. Lou Tibbs, one of the very rare YouTube chatters who I have seen in real life and has seen me in real life, much like Bigfoot. Got to play some cash tonight. Got to get right after a devastating main slate yesterday. I'm sorry to hear that, but that's how it goes sometimes, certainly. Gotta say, I did play with SaberSim over the weekend just because I'm curious to see other products. And I also like, just in the sake of like trying to always evolve these videos, wondering if I can implement them in some way, though I don't know if I want to pay $400 a month for a sim when I get all this other stuff comp for, being a shill here on stream. And I do like how SaberSim builds lineups. Like I also like, for me, for basketball in particular, that I can use my projections more so on that as opposed to what I feel like with Stochastic Sim, where I'm just overlaying my data on their already built lineups, which is not, it makes me low on players. Sometimes I don't want to be, and I have a little more control with it. So, just for the sake of disclosure, I have been enjoying that. But always trying different stuff out there, much like you guys. And that's what we're always trying to do, is improve at gambling here, get better results as much as we can, but get better process, if not better results. Number one known player, Jalen Hurts. Not a surprise here. 71% expected owned, a 17% at captain. I think for Jalen Hurts here, he deserves to be in that many lineups for sure. That said, not playing at captain, I think that's one way to try to get unique here, playing the upside of pass catchers. With the ownership for Saquon being at 17.4%, Hurts at 17.2%, you're not really getting a benefit from the push-pull dynamics these guys have, where if Saquon Barkley's running hot, they probably have him running in more touchdowns. Jalen Hurts then not getting easy tush-push opportunities for himself. If the pass game's running hot with Jalen Hurts and he's running in some tush-push touchdowns, Saquon less likely to make a winning lineup. So I think right away, the fact these guys are getting to this many lineups, thinking about splitting them up, max one. I think we'll see what, again, the solver has for us in a moment with ETR data as it relates to the cash game kind of builds. But I think that if you are playing large field tournaments, considering just one of Jalen Hurts or Saquon might be a good move. But Hurts 71% overall, Saquon 62%. We've talked enough about these guys already, but certainly the ownership is there, and projection-wise deserves to be there for them both. Justin Herbert 52% ownership, Fields at 9%. So feels like a reasonable amount. I do wonder if in practice, this is against Stochastic's data utopia, where they assume people make the smartest plays for the most part. I wonder if large field tournaments, people are going to be a little more gun shy, especially on a casual Monday Night Football kind of slate, where they're willing to play Justin Herbert coming off the hand injury. But I think being with half your lineups having Herbert, that seems fair. I think playing into the upside more, if half the field's in that ownership, that seems fair. Maybe Herbert runs more because he's not comfortable. I mean, like if you want to really spin yourself into spin a yarn for why you want to play a guy. But I think really the big thing is just that like the ownership isn't so high here that I think, let's move away from him and let's play into the, the fact that he might just fall flat in his face if his hand's not doing what it has to do. Or if he's just like Jaden yesterday, where Jaden, I mean, that was not a great start for him anyway, but like he was playing fine, but then he gets hit and like the game's getting out of hand and he's out. I don't think it's going to happen today. Like it's not going to be the Commanders being down 4 touchdowns almost immediately. But for Justin Herbert, if it does act up at all, like, I don't know, I think you got to pull him. It seems like an odd situation. AJ Brown, 11%. And also, let's keep in mind here, this could be a reverse Amon-Ra St. Brown from one of our last Lions slates where it's like, no chance he plays, and he plays. I don't know. I assume Herbert's going to play based on all the news out there. It seems like all the reports are saying that. If he does get ruled out, it is just going to be a different slate with Trey Lance, who will project not as well, but will have rushing upside. And I'd play him for the fun of it, if nothing else. AJ Brown, 46% ownership, Fields at 11 for captain as well. Again, I really think that with AJ Brown put up the big box score games lately, not a crazy move to me to play into the fact this is a zone heavy matchup. Play more Dallas Goedert, play more Devontae Smith. But AJ Brown is looking better. He is also separating a little bit as a target earner, even though the targets are the same, relatively close count wise, with the aforementioned 7.9 targets game for AJ Brown, 7.3 for Devontae Smith. The target rate is a little bit better for AJ Brown, 26% target per out run for him. For Devontae Smith, 23.5. So like AJ Brown's been the better player, but I think you probably make a little bit more playing Devontae Smith. The ownership's close though. 46 for Brown, 40 for Devontae Smith, 11% of captain for AJ Brown, 9% for Devontae Smith. They both seem appropriately owned. I wouldn't mind just flipping the numbers here. Get a little bit more Devontae, a little bit less AJ Brown. I think that helps kind of going against the point chasing of it all. Rondé Gadsden not too far behind. Ladd McConkey not too far behind. Omarion Hampton with the split backfield not too far behind. Going down the food chain, Kamani Vidal at 11%. Certainly some chance that he keeps a larger part of the workload than people expect. Projections definitely not looking great for Vidal. Hampton has been also a good pass catcher, so there really isn't a reason to have Vidal on the field if Hampton is good to go, and I think he's a better back. But that said, for Vidal, he was getting he finished so far his run / including his time as a backup, 3.8 red zone opportunities a game, 1.6 inside the 10-yard line. For comparison, Hampton's only with his time missed. Obviously, it's been a while, but only 2.4 red zone opportunities a game to 1.4. There's a showing of trust in Vidal that I think there might be a higher workload. So I don't mind going his way to 11%, even though the salary you are kind of paying for, paying a lot for a guy who might just be a pure backup. Hey, let's run some solver lineups here. Got to tweak the projection slightly just so we can get it to run 25 projection-based lineups with no boosts or anything. We're going to see what our cash game build is. You guys know the deal here. One more ask. Hit that like button, subscribe. Again, goes a long way from here. Just one guy showing you my gambling across the NFL, the NBA as well, on my @SplashPlayBets channel. 2 p.m. Monday to Friday, doing the NBA slate. Today's going to be a dog shit NBA slate, guys. 3 games, but I will still show up and do it. I'm still entering same amount of tournaments I normally would, doing both sports today. So join me on there, but show some love if you can. Hit that like button and subscribe. Of course, Stochastic, all the stuff I just showed you. Check it out. 15% off. Link down in the description. And also the solver here. You can check that out too, which I'm going to show you more of in a moment. Or your cash game build according to ETR data. We got Saquon Barkley at captain, Jalen Hurts, Justin Herbert, Rondé Gadsden, Jake Elliott, Eagles D. So 4-2 Eagles build. Saquon and Hurts make it as expected. Overall, across the top 25, as expected, they all include Saquon, all include Hurts. If you somehow get a Chargers ass-kicking build here where Hurts and Saquon don't make it, the Eagles don't show up, which has happened, as Eagles fans can attest, some of which I know in the chat can attest, they have not shown up a few times this year in major ways. Getting away from these guys, obviously they project well. Your expectation is that you want to get more lineups with these guys, because if they are making every lineup, they're the best plays on the slate, but they are occurring naturally in every single lineup. 100% for Saquon, 100% for Hurts, and then projection wise, 16% captain Saquon, 18% captain Hurts. So not a big lean there. It does seem like you're splitting captain a little bit more evenly. And then Justin Herbert at 80%, making a good amount of lineups, but not like in every lineup. Thinking about it that way, where these guys popping in 100% of your top 25 optimal lineups, it just means they're naturally going to come in together to lineups more than you might possibly recognize or want, is the case for Hurts and Saquon on the slate. Nothing to note in player stacks. Overall construction seems fairly balanced. You got 3-3 Eagles, 40% of these top 25, 4-2 Eagles and 36, 20% Eagles, 5-1s. So you are building Eagles dominant. 96% of lineups have at least 3 Eagles in the top 25. So if you do capture an outcome where the Chargers kick the Eagles' ass and get a 4-2 or a 5-1 build especially, that will be in a very unique path. And the Eagles are a volatile enough team. I mean, they are a 2-point favorite on the road. Herbert has the hand concerns, at the very least we could say. But that's not bad numbers. It looks like there are no sims available on ETR, so we are going to skip this part of simming on ETR because we can't. We'll go to Stochastic and run a sim now. But that's interesting to me. Because the Eagles really, they're the least good vibes, good team in the NFL, I feel like. They have the worst vibes. And it might be because it's not even because I'm local, because I don't really consume that much local Philadelphia media. And I also don't care about them or support them as a team. So that's also part of it. But I do think for them, like, just watching them play and how there's always like infighting and bickering, and the offense just sputters because of like Jalen Hurts' risk aversity because he wants to let the defense win games, along with the fact the game, the play calling is not that good and not super aggressive. And the guys, frankly, that are calling plays on offense are not, the guy's not the most qualified either. I feel bad this house is getting egged at 2 a.m. or whatever by local New Jersey idiots. But like, he also is not coaching well or anything. Especially after Kellen Moore, like you set the bar here, and then the guy you bring in is like fucking. Hey, why don't we just do a worse version of what we did last year? Oh no, the receivers are bad. Let's throw it this week. That's my Kevin Petula, but I've never heard him talk. That's the vibes I get from his coaching. He's pure country Bears. It's Five Nights at Freddy's. I'm keeping up with topical references for the kids. Your top ROI lineup scored a stochastic data here. We got Jalen Hurts, AJ Brown, Cameron Dicker. Dicker the kicker makes it in. Darius Cooper, Devontae Smith, Saquon Barkley. Darius Cooper, who played 13 snaps last week for the Eagles. For comparison, John Dotson played 32. You're digging deep here for your number one ROI lineup with Darius Cooper. Number 2, you got Ladd McConkey, AJ Brown, Cameron Latu, Jalen Hurts, Justin Herbert, Keenan Allen. Cameron Latu, another one where I assume we're not going to have a lot of snaps. 5 snaps last week. So Kylan Granson, amount of snaps. So Cameron Latu, again, just going off the snap count stuff. Latu and Kylan Granson, basically the same guy. But Ladd McConkey, AJ Brown, Cameron Latu, Jalen Hurts, Justin Herbert, Keenan Allen. Always happy to go to Keenan Allen. Number 3, Quentin Johnston, AJ Brown, Eagles D, Jake Elliott, Jalen Hurts, Justin Herbert. All right. I mean, nothing feels that crazy in that one. Playing defense, I guess fading Saquon, playing defense and kicker from the Eagles. That seems like the uniqueness levers along with Quentin Johnston being the captain. Number 4, you get Saquon at captain, Cameron Dicker, Grant Calcaterra, Jalen Hurts, Justin Herbert, Oronde Gadsden. So fading all the actual Chargers receivers and running backs. So you're playing Gadsden and the kicker along with Herbert. Leaving $3K on the table for that one. So that's a good amount of salary left. And number 5, you have Oronde Gadsden at captain, Devontae Smith, Jake Elliott, Justin Herbert, Quentin Johnston, Saquon Barkley. Leaving $1,500 on the table. You're fading Hurts in that one. So that's going to be a decent stand. So leaving some salary, fading Hurts, and they still expect 2 dupes on that. Oh, okay. Well, those are lineups. I don't know. I feel like I don't really have like a great feel about those, but I think they seem okay. I'm not grossed out by them. Nothing that I don't really believe. Your top ROI players though, Britton Covey, again, a guy barely playing, but $200 salary likely allows you to pay up for all the guys you need who have a meaningful ceiling that can spike. You have Britton Covey at a $200 salary, 13% ROI. Cameron Latu, same thing, $200 salary, 9% ROI. Chargers D at captain, you got a 1% ROI, and those are all of your positive ROI players. But number 4, you have the Eagles D at captain, so seems like defensive captain perhaps a little bit underplayed, or at the very least the payout is a little bit higher than how often they're going to be played. And Darius Cooper at number 5. Tell you what, Darius Cooper, not a name that I'm like, oh yeah, it's going to be a Darius Cooper slate, but when Stochastic highlights those guys, it is important to note it. Really, though, I think the big thing is that it's just the price tag. 200 for Covey, 200 for Latu, 1,000 for Cooper. And then they have Granson, because I think they think Granson's going to be like the chalk value guy. So it's basically just giving you the other value guys instead of Granson. So I guess that makes sense. Highest exposures overall. Justin Herbert in the flex is in 50% of lineups, Fields at 43. So again, buying into the risk perhaps for Justin Herbert coming off that hand surgery for his non-throwing hand. Jalen Hurts, 46% exposure, Fields at 53. So a little bit of an anti-stand on Jalen Hurts in the flex. We'll see what we get at captain. Saquon Barkley, 42% exposure, Fields at 44. So a little bit under on Saquon as well in the flex. They're not enough to really matter. Chargers D, you're getting at 33% of these top 150 lines for Stochastic. Fields at 22. So pretty big stand in favor of Chargers D. Again, Eagles a very volatile team, so I don't mind that. The Chargers D is pretty good. AJ Brown, flat with the field, basically 1/3 of lineups at the flex. Fields the same amount. Captain, you're getting Hurts. Oh, you're getting Hurts above the field at captain. 24% Hurts at captain. So combined, Stochastic thinks you should get 70% Hurts overall, which is with the field, but favors the ownership at captain. Saquon Barkley, 11% exposure. So fading him at captain and in the flex, that's noteworthy. So Stochastic does think that Hurts is a better play than Saquon, it seems. Lad McConkey, 11% exposure at captain, Fields at 8. That is a decently sized stand in favor of Lad McConkey. A.J. Brown, they're holding hands at the field, 11%. Justin Herbert, 9% and change, Fields at 8. So Stochastic data does support Justin Herbert overall. Highest leverage plays, Chargers D in the flex, Justin Herbert in the flex, Jalen Hurts at captain. Tank Bigsby, who is playing some snaps, but only one last week. That's like nothing. Jesus. All right. He was playing 8-8, then 3-1. Does feel like he gets a touch when he's out there. Be a 1 snap last week for Tank, 50 for Saquon. So you probably shouldn't play a lot of Tank, though he is a positive leverage play here. Certainly in-game injury would really help him out. Quentin Johnson at number 5, getting 5.5% exposure. Above the field, that is, in the flex. Your biggest fades, Oronde Gadsden, 5,800 in the flex, negative 8% leverage. Eagles D in the flex, negative 8% leverage. Dallas Goedert in the flex. I like Goddard in the spot. They got tight end versus zone. Generally tends to play well. Shout out Zach Ertz, by the way, who tore his ACL. It's the end of his career. That's sad. But he's a guy that always crushes versus zone because he's a big, beefy tight end. And maybe it's finally Ben Sinnott time. It's we've lived long enough that it might be Ben. If Ben Sinnott goes nuts in these fucking playoffs, I swear to God. Not the actual playoffs, because Commanders will not be there. Jalen Hurts, negative 7% leverage for him. So a little bit of a fade in the flex, but we got more at captain. And Saquon Barkley, negative 7% at captain as well. Pretty decent fade for him. It's tough scene for us Eagles fans. I know it. Alex has not watched as many Eagle games as she used to. Obviously, part of that is having a child, but she could watch more Eagles games if she wanted, but it's, I think, hard to get up to watch the team. But let's go here. Of course, my wife is an Eagles fan, in case you guys at home are not familiar, and it's a torturous experience for me. For her, she won a Super Bowl, so I think that's still mostly fun. She did not personally, but you know. Why am I doing this? Why am I simming it? Single lineup sim time. Let's do it, guys. Large field contest, 25% to first. Last stage of our journey here before I give you guys my 3 ways to get unique based upon everything we've seen. One more ask, hit that like button, subscribe. Well, not one more. I'll probably do at least one more on top of this, but hit that like button, subscribe. Again, you guys have been watching these videos more and more, but please help me out as the channel grows to keep hitting that like button. That's what tells YouTube that we're still doing okay. Keep showing it to more people. Feels kind of like Pluribus. We're getting more people on the hive here. But help me out, hit the like button, and and hit subscribe. Goes a long way. Stochastic 15% off, link down below, promo code SPLASH. Solver, link down below as well if you want to join on there with the promo code SPLASH. And join the channel for $5 to support what I'm doing here. And of course, you get cool stuff like being on a Discord and like being on a Discord. That's a terrible way to sell that. But also my data updated too every week. All the stuff I look at, I do put it together and put it out in Microsoft Office every week. All right, let's build this lineup. I mean, it seems like the sim's going to like Captain Hurts. I do like the concept of not playing Hurts and trying to go maybe the onslaught, or maybe just playing Hurts in the flex. Go 5-1 Chargers. But it's hard to guess the pass catchers for the Chargers. And now we also have a situation where it's going to be hard to guess the RBs for the Chargers because we have 2 of them that might play a meaningful amount of snaps. So that's not great either. So let's play this a safe way. Let's get a good ROI. I'm going to go Hurts captain. I'm going to fade Saquon here, I think. Because I believe strongly they're going to be together in every lineup, and they probably shouldn't be. Let's fade A.J. Brown. Let's go more throwing, more Devontae Smith. More Dallas Goedert. Now we're building. Maybe that's all of our Eagles, because we don't want to go nuts on Eagles, because we do know the field is going to be naturally getting 4-2 Eagles more, 5-1 Eagles more. Philadelphia, man defense heavy team, 37% rate they play man. They play zone 52%. When they do play zone, though, they get killed. And Keenan Allen is your zone beater. I just love Keenan Allen. I know he doesn't hit as often, it feels like these days, but I still think the upside's there. The work is there. We saw he's getting 40+ snaps. I am going to go Keenan Allen, try to trust him in this matchup. If we're looking for somebody to get into spots fast for Herbert, Lad McConkey might be the better play. Can we go? We could go both. We go Keenan and Ladd, who can just PPR scam their way there. You know, touchdowns get split with the running backs and stuff like that. Can't afford Herbert now. 4,900 left. We do Chargers D against Jalen Hurts. Can they sack him enough times? I think they can. I don't know if that makes the most sense. But that'll cut the ownership product a little bit. So we got captain Jalen Hurts, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert. So because we have him at captain, we're going to have some pass game production that goes with it. Terrible ROI. Keenan Allen, Ladd McConkey, Chargers D. All right, let's keep Keenan in. We'll keep the core concept. Let's let Stochastic make it itself. Sometimes the sim will still reject the lineup that it builds itself, which feels like self-flagellation for the sim product here. But same thing, Hurts, Goddard, Devontae, and now Keenan, Saquon, Chargers. Nope, doesn't like that either. All right, let's get Saquon out. Let's get Chargers out. Let's go to 30% randomness. Complete the lineup. A.J. Brown and Eagles D added into this one. Eagles D should correlate a little bit better with Hurts at captain. Nope. Fuck. This is not enjoyable. All right, let's take out maybe Keenan Allen's the issue. Maybe that's it. Keenan Allen is holding this lineup back. We'll go 30% randomness, 3 spots. Dicker, Elliott, both kickers make it. Saquon Barkley, what is the sim at? And if this isn't positive, I throw up my hands and I go, fuck this. We made good time in the video. All right, 36% ROI. So we got it with the Hurts to Goddard and Devontae Smith. We still get Jake Elliott and Saquon in, so an Eagles 5-1. We got Cameron Dicker here as our one Charger, so we are really doing unique stuff here for an Eagles 5-1. I'll give the sim that. 36% ROI, 0.5% win rate, which might mean this gets duped a little bit because that's a high win rate for that low of an ROI overall. But there you go, positive ROI number. Guys, we are going to do the 3 ways to get unique in a moment. Before I do that, one last run through plugs. Please hit that like button. Please subscribe. Goes a long way for me here. You guys know the deal. Yada, yada, yada. But really, I show up and do the work as best I can every day. Some days, this is a short video today, but some days we go longer. Some days I go shorter. Today, just, you know, got through everything as fast as humanly possible, I guess. But hit that like button and subscribe no matter what. I'm here doing the work as best I can for you guys. Mondays and Thursdays for the showdown slates. Friday, main slate. Our must-plays videos, as always. Check out Stochastic too. All the stuff that I showed you here on screen, you can get for 15% off. You click the link down below. That is the best deal you're going to find out there this holiday season. So go check it out. Get all the cheap stuff, all the expensive stuff, all the data you want, no matter what sport, not just NFL, NBA, MMA, NASCAR. They too icy out there for NASCAR, but whatever sports are NHL, it's the perfect amount of icy for the NHL. That's all available to you. So click the link down below, get 15% off. And join the channel too to support the show. And a lot of you guys have been joining lately who watch after the fact, after the live streams. But check it out here. Of course, these videos are meant to be evergreen as long as they possibly can. So join along here and get into the mix. $5 to join. Shouts to all you guys that have been doing that. All right, 3 ways to get unique on this one. Number 1, fade one or both of Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley. They project well enough at their price tags. They're going to make every lineup. And they do have theoretically a non-symbiotic relationship that they're so toxic together. But like really, if Jalen Hurts hits his ceiling as a passer and a runner, Saquon comes down. If Saquon hits his ceiling as a rusher, he's going to also inhibit what Jalen Hurts does the best and inhibit also his chances at getting some of the cheap touchdowns. So I think for those guys, right away, it's trying to separate them. Kind of makes sense naturally because people will be getting them regularly. Like we talked about with Josh Allen and James Cook over the weekend. When they're chalked together, you don't want to play both. And you maybe want to fade both. You know, that's, and I ended up working. Shador Sanders won the fucking Millie Maker. It's the wrong cheap QB hit. Point being, though, is that separating that Jalen Hurts and Saquon or fading them both in a lineup will get you unique enough that you're away from a large swath of the field. Second way to get unique, I think it's playing less of A.J. Brown, more of the other pass catchers. It seems like the data was bearing that out as well. Again, the ownership seems like it's closer, but Dallas Goedert, big fade for the sim. I think Goddard is always in play to me when we have a good amount of ownership for A.J. Brown, and sort of the way that A.J. Brown fails, but the Eagles still hit their median outcome is like the ball just goes to Goddard and to Devontae Smith a little bit more. I think AJ Brown's been playing well, but I think we're due to maybe get these guys the ball a little bit more, and they're out there a lot. So that's one of my thoughts. Um, Kickers seem okay. The defenses do seem like they were coming up a little bit more. So I think there's another slate where playing defense, playing Chargers D in particular, seems like that'll get you more unique and also have good sim returns on it, given the fact the sim is giving you like 3x the field on it. So for Chargers D, I think that's the play. But really, it seems like for a fairly low total game, we're getting more of kind of shootout builds and playing the defense, playing the kickers more in those kind of spots where the total's only, what, 41 and a half? Yeah, 41 and a half. That's a spot where you can play defense and kickers and feel pretty good about it. And Chargers in particular did seem a little bit lowly owned. But that's it for today, guys. I will be on Stochastics live before lock later today at 7:15 Eastern. So come join me on there. I'll be reunited with my good friend Lofty to do that stream. We always have a good time on there. We always hit some fun tangents and all that. I will be on the NBA channel as well, the @SplashPlayBets channel, doing my NBA stream. You can also check the playlist if you're watching on YouTube. It leads you right to the NBA content, but not right to the NBA, but right to my content in the NBA. So join me at 2 p.m. We'll be working myself up as best I can for today's 3-game slate. Probably another breezily timed video as well on that one. Make sure to gamble responsibly, guys, especially this time of year. Use your money on more intelligent things like your family. But it is always money time here. Follow me at Chris Spags, follow the channel at SplashPlayPod on YouTube and on Twitter. And I will see you guys again soon. So, hey, enjoy your days. Good luck for you guys best ball fans out there. Get whatever you can across the finish line. And then it's a whole new world of praying you get good pods. So let's see how that goes for the next few weeks. But I'll see you guys again soon. Hopefully at 2 p.m. for NBA. Enjoy your days. Good luck. Bye-bye. And, yeah, what else? I don't have anything else to say. Bye.